Hello, this is Ken Meyer again. Today I thought I'd talk a little bit about the Myers-Briggs personality function of introversion. Recently I made a brief video on extroversion. This is the other potential behavior on that same level of energy. Where is your energy coming from? And introversion, the simple answer to that is that introversion, people that are introverted, such as myself, their energy is coming from inside themselves. And by the way, only about 20 to 30% of all the people in the world are instinctively preferring introversion. So when you are introverted, your energy is directed primarily inward, towards yourself, towards your thoughts, towards your perceptions, towards your reactions, perhaps even the reactions of others, but you're thinking about it. In addition, introverts have a tendency to be more reserved than their extroverted counterparts. They're more private, cautious, keeping to themselves, interested or getting involved in fewer things, fewer interactions. So if you are instinctively introverted, you're going to be oriented to the inside world of thoughts and ideas, as I mentioned. You may have a tendency to avoid crowds. You may seek out quiet settings. Instead of being focused on ideas instead of being focused on people and things outside yourself, you'll be focused on ideas, concepts, inner thoughts more often and more instinctively. You'll prefer to spend more time with yourself than with others. You'll spend time with others. Many times you'll want to as an introvert, but you'll prefer more to be by yourself. You have a tendency, or introverts have a tendency instinctively to keep the enthusiasm that they're feeling to themselves, and frankly, until they've had a chance to think about it. Introverts have a tendency to listen more than they talk. They have a tendency to think and then talk. When I was describing extroverts, at one point I said the extroverts have a tendency to ready, fire, aim. The introverts will have a tendency to ready, aim, fire, something like that. They do have a tendency to talk less. They'll shun the limelight, although there's some introverted types that will actually seek out the limelight on occasion. The introvert will have a tendency to begin their talking, begin their conversation with a preference. Many times extroverts don't, they just jump right in. Introverts are instinctively more cautious, hesitant. One of the keys to understanding introversion is that, as I mentioned when I began, this is where their energy is coming from. So introverts will charge their battery by being by themselves. Another way I like to put it is that every millisecond of the time the introvert is by themselves, they're being charged. Every millisecond of the time the introvert is with other people, they're being drained of energy. Thinking of the extroverts for a second, it's completely reversed. Every millisecond of the time the extrovert is by themselves, they're being drained of energy. Every millisecond of the time the extrovert is in the presence of other people, they're being charged with energy. Introverts have a tendency to focus on one task at a time rather than jumping around. They have more of a calm, measured demeanor, it's fair to say. They're usually more reserved, reflective. One of the interesting things about introverts, which relates to the ready aim idea, is they will consider deeply, typically, before acting. And this can be a point of unusual stress. If the introvert does not have time to consider deeply before acting, that can create stress. And on the extroverted side, if the extrovert has too much time to themselves, aren't allowed to be more outgoing, that'll create stress for them. And the introvert has a tendency to probe inward for stimulation versus the extrovert who's going to be probing outward. So I just wanted to say a few words about introversion. I hope you enjoyed the brief video, and we'll see you next time when I'll be talking about the Myers-Briggs level of taking in information. We'll be considering the instinctively preferred functions of either sensing or the instinctively preferred function of intuition.